off a box of honey. So this box, it's about half full, maybe a third full. A little bit more smoke, just to keep them calm and nice. We're going to look at the center frame on this one. So the dark stuff in there, that's pollen. So the bees need two kinds of food. They need carbohydrates, starches, which is like potatoes and pasta, and then they need protein, which is like beans and meats, fish. So the pollen is the bee's protein, and that comes from the plants around here. What they do is they bring the pollen home, the pollen grains from the flowers, and then they mix it with some honey, and it actually ferments, sort of like corn silage or like a pickle. And it preserves it. So that's what you're seeing in the bottom of those cells. Remember I told you that we use a queen excluder? So here on the bottom of these frames, the queen can't get up here to lay eggs, but they've made many queen cells, and I'm really curious to know whether these queen cells at the bottom, where the queen can't reach, but where they can easily move an egg, where the workers can easily move an egg, curious to know whether there are any eggs in these. There's none in that one, but this one, I think this one's pretty close to capping. So I kind of think this one might have an egg in it. Let's have a look. Yes, look at that. Not only does it have something in it, but if you can look in there, Colette, you see that white stuff? That's called royal jelly. And that's something that the young nurse bees make to feed the bees. Now, a regular worker bee only gets royal jelly for one day as a larva. A queen bee gets it for her whole developmental period. And that turns on all the genes, all the things that make her into a queen are controlled by that white goo in there. So, it's pretty precious stuff. I'm going to take that off. I'm going to give it to your mom because lots of fancy ladies like to use that as eye cream and things for wrinkles.
Oh, see that, guys? I'm going to get younger by the day.
Okay, so what does that tell us? Well, what that tells us is that this hive wants to swarm because they're making swarm cells. I don't really want this hive to swarm, so I have to do something about that. So let's get into the deep box and see what else is going on. So there's the queen excluder. Looks like kind of a grill, right? And the idea is that it's the spacing's too narrow for the queen to be able to get in there, to get through it, to get up into the upper box. These are called frames, and these are deep frames. What do we see here? What we see is a deep frame that has pollen, right? We saw that up in the upper box. It has some honey in the corners here, right? If you see the glistening honey. And then if you look here, the leathery looking stuff, those are capped cells. That's where the young bees are going through their metamorphosis. We call it pupation. That's okay. That's a baby bee. She just came out. Isn't that nice? Okay. And then if we look carefully here, there's some white things in the bottom of those cells, and those white things are young larvae. This is a boy bee. Boy bees don't have stingers. So I can handle a boy bee. He'll fly away. Okay. Well, that sure is an interesting frame. There's lots more larvae on this side, especially on the bottom of the frame, closest to me. Okay. Let's see what else we can find.
Get him, honey.
He likes daddy.
Yeah.
Okay, there's more capped brood. Lots and lots of capped brood. Hanging off the bottom here, these bigger cells, that's drone brood. Those are boys. These are all going to be workers. Right? We have queens, we have drones, and we have workers. So the queen cell hangs down, right? We saw the royal jelly in that. Then we have drone cells, which are big and horizontal, and we have the regular smaller worker cells. So we're going to open up one of these drone cells and see what's in it. Kind of running. It's kind of young. Oh, hey, there's a boy emerging. Look. There's a drone coming out of his cell. There's a drone being born.
See him, look? See him, Colette?
Can you see him through the camera there, Colette? There he is. He's coming out.
See him, honey?
Yeah. I can see him without the cameras.
All right. Let's see what else we have here. What I haven't found yet is the queen. We're going to find the queen, probably.